CNN Money Switzerland is designed to flow through information. Our network provides a unique take on live, worldwide financial news. From the heart of Europe, watch CNN Money Switzerland.
France's former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, was found guilty of bribery on Monday and sentenced to 3 years in jail with 2 years suspended. Judges found him guilty of trying to bribe a judge and of influence peddling.
For the first time in France's modern history, a former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, has been sentenced to prison. He was convicted on corruption charges for trying to bribe a judge for information on a probe into his campaign finances after he left office. 2 years of Sarkozy's sentence were suspended. He'll likely serve a house arrest instead of jail time. Sarkozy plans to appeal that ruling. Well, for more, Dominic Thomas is with us now, CNN European Affairs commentator. He's also chair of the Department of French and Francophone Studies at UCLA. Dominic, thanks for being with us.
Great to see you, John. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Now, in the grand scheme of things, how serious are Sarkozy's crimes? Because his predecessor, Jacques Chirac, received a 2-year suspended sentence. Those are the misuse of public funds and for his time as Paris mayor, but obviously there's history.
There is history here, and it's pretty bad, you know, when you think about, you know, the frequency of this now. What's unique about the Sarkozy case is that it actually involves 1 year of a firm sentence. Now, he won't actually, you know, the likelihood is if the appeal does not go through, that he will not serve it physically, but he may be forced to wear an ankle bracelet. And so things have escalated here. And, you know, what's fascinating about this is that, you know, it's the result of these investigations that have pointed to the particular corruption here, rather than the investigations into the donations and the misuses of funds here. And so this adds a whole other layer to this story.
With a verve and swagger, Nicolas Sarkozy dominated French politics for much of the early 2000s. Can now be remembered for something else. First ex-president to get a custodial sentence for corruption charges. The news has come as quite a shock to the French.
Everybody expected Nicolas Sarkozy to get away with either a fully suspended sentence or be acquitted on some technicality. And so this really came as a shock, because he's the first former president to be sentenced to prison.
From 2007 to 2012, Sarkozy strutted the world stage alongside fellow leaders as French president. He now joins the select group of ex-leaders tainted by corruption, from Italy's Silvio Berlusconi to Jacques Chirac, who received 2 years suspended sentence for misdeeds committed as mayor of Paris. Sarkozy claims he was a victim of unfair persecution by investigators.
Sarkozy has 10 days to appeal the ruling. He is the second former president in modern France, after the late Jacques Chirac, to be convicted of corruption.
Nicolas Sarkozy is no stranger to scandal. The former French president has been dogged by corruption investigations since leaving office in 2012. The 66-year-old has been placed under formal investigation over long-standing allegations that he received millions of euros from the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi in illegal funding for his 2007 presidential campaign. French investigative website Mediapart has reported that suitcases full of cash were handed over to Sarkozy and his then chief of staff in 2006 and 2007. The probe saw the former French leader questioned in 2020 and 2018. He has denied the allegations. It's not the only funding scandal he's embroiled in. After losing an appeal, Sarkozy will face another trial later this month over what's known as the Pygmalion affair. He was placed under formal investigation in 2016 over allegations that his center-right party used a PR firm to hide the expenses of his re-election campaign in 2012. His Conservative Party allegedly spent nearly 43 million euros, almost twice the maximum authorized, to finance his failed bid. He has denied any wrongdoing. Despite the former French leader's nebulous legal issues, his name has been cleared in some cases, including the Karachi affair, in which he was cited as a witness, involving allegations of kickbacks on a Pakistani arms deal while Sarkozy was budget minister in the 1990s. Sarkozy's name was also cleared from the Bettencourt probe. He had been investigated for allegedly soliciting secret campaign financing from L'Oréal heiress Liliane Bettencourt.
All right, and we can now go directly to the courthouse in Paris, where our senior reporter Chris Moore was listening to that verdict handed down for Nicolas Sarkozy. He joins me now. Chris, tell us what you heard in court.
Those sentences are handed out within the last few minutes to Nicolas Sarkozy and his two co-defendants, his lawyer Thierry Herzog and an investigating magistrate, Gilbert Azibert, in terms of a reminder as to what those corruption charges centred on, namely that between them, whilst communicating on phone lines, which were later tapped, Sarkozy and his lawyer sought to glean information out of Azibert over an ongoing investigation into campaign finance in exchange for the prospect of a lucrative and prestigious job in Monaco, a job which it should be pointed out that Azibert never actually got. Nevertheless, those verdicts being handed down by the judge, who said that between them they had effectively sought to undermine public confidence, not sought to, but had actually managed to undermine public confidence in the justice system, and that as a former politician, former president, a powerful and influential man, Nicolas Sarkozy had effectively abused the justice system and sought to exploit what the judge called his network of power. You've been hearing.
CNN Money Switzerland is designed to flow through information. From the heart of Europe, watch CNN Money Switzerland.